Sanjeev, could you share your views on India as a key market for CapitaLand Investment?
So India has become a very strategic market. It was always identified as a core market by CapitaLand, but its strategic importance has really gone up over the last couple of years. As we see growth in a volatile environment globally in India, as we see the growth of India's digitalization, and at the same time the manufacturing shifts that are happening across Asia, we see India as a key beneficiary of all these three trends. And to capitalize on that, we are now having three existing asset classes, two of which are relatively new. So IT parks, data centers, and logistics and industrial. A strong presence across all the three makes sure that we are well poised to benefit from these growth trends. So definitely our capital allocation as a result, therefore, to India is expected to grow substantially over the next 2-3 years.
In your new expanded role as CEO of CapitaLand Investment India, what would be your three focus areas?
So my three focus areas are one is of course maintaining the strong momentum we have in our IT park portfolio, expanding our logistics, industrial and our data center business at a fast pace, and get into two new additional sectors. One in particular we are focusing on or strategizing about quite significantly, which is renewable energy. The second segment that we are evaluating is still a bit early stage, but we think there are some very interesting trends there too, which is on the real estate credit side. So it's really, these are my key focus areas at this moment.
Can you tell us a little bit more about CapitaLand Investment's journey in India, and how do you see us grow over the next 2-3 years?
Sure. The journey in India is actually a fairly long one, and it's been through many organizational changes. So we started in India 29 years back. We will be celebrating our 30th anniversary soon. That journey began with Ascendus. Ascendus in turn went through a merger with another entity called Singbridge, owned by Temasek. This happened about 2015 thereabouts. And then of course in 2019 we had another very significant merger with CapitaLand. And throughout this entire 29-30 years, we've really seen a significant improvement, I would say, in the regulatory environment in India, and more stable regulations and an investment climate for foreign investors like ourselves. So if I try to put that in terms of some of the growth figures and the growth statistics of our business, I would say that when I joined the company in Jan 2014, our overall India AUM was about $1.4 billion. Now it is at about $4 billion. Sorry, these are all Sing dollar numbers. Now we're about 4 billion Sing. And our group CEO 4 years back when he visited India had said that we'll at least be at about 7 billion and in about 5 years time. So I do think that we are well poised on that trajectory, and hopefully we in fact over the next 3 years increase our capital allocation further.
Could you share your perspective about CapitaLand Investment, both from an investment standpoint and from a development standpoint?
Yeah, so that's an interesting part of our journey actually, which is we historically were a developer who was acquiring land and doing greenfield projects in India, especially in the IT park space. What has changed since so CapitaLand Investment, an entity got created about 2.5 years ago. So what happened was that the parent company CapitaLand was split into two parts. So there was the fund management business, which became CapitaLand Investment, which is where I sit and which is where our India business sits. And on the pure play development in Singapore and other countries was hived off in a private entity called CapitaLand Development. So that is also now increasingly getting reflected in our strategy in India, as we are looking to become. We already actually in India have primarily operated through CapitaLand India Trust and through our private equity fund structures. We do have some balance sheet assets historically, but increasingly now our growth will primarily be in the form of funds.